Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 530 News on KPAX, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, I'm Jill Valley.
And I'm Dennis Bragg. The investigation continues into Wednesday's fatal shooting in Arlee that we first reported online and here on the show yesterday.
We now know who the victim is, and Lake County's sheriff's officials are telling us they are investigating the shooting as possibly self-defense.
MTN News' Connor McCauley joins us live in the studio now with the latest on the investigation. Connor?
Today I spoke with Lake County Sheriff Don Bell, who tells me there is no threat to the Arlee community after Wednesday's fatal shooting. He also said they are investigating the shooting as possibly self-defense.
Arrived at a residence on Sanders Street in Arlee around 3:30 Wednesday afternoon. Sheriff Bell said Peak died as a result of a gunshot wound. While the shooter's identity has not been released, the relationship between the two men has been.
You know, they were neighbors from like a half a block away.
After law enforcement arrived on the scene, the shooter was taken into custody along with multiple witnesses.
There was 3 witnesses, but we only brought two witnesses and the shooter up to the office. The 4th witness, the 4th person there was there prior and had left before the shooting occurred.
The shooter was then released after questioning from the sheriff's office. Sheriff Bell tells us they are investigating the shooting as a possible self-defense.
We've since released, after the initial investigation was gone through and all the information was run through the county attorneys, we determined that the person wasn't a flight risk or wasn't a risk to the community, and it was looking at a possible self-defense, so that person was released.
Bell adds there is no threat to the community or neighborhood related to this incident.
The Montana State Crime Lab in Missoula is handling the autopsy. Back to you, Jill and Dennis.
Thanks, Connor. Sheriff Bell said no other details are going to be released on this investigation at this time. Meanwhile, a Gallatin County man is in the state hospital in Warm Springs after reportedly making threats against Montana State Capitol building. The incident played out over about 24 hours starting on Tuesday.
And while police are not saying a lot about this right now, MTM's Jacob Fuhrer tells us this was a credible threat.
It was a very scary situation Wednesday as police worked to apprehend a man that they say wanted to shoot up the building.
We got a call on, I guess it's Tuesday afternoon, from Bozeman Police Department saying that they had received information that a person was threatening to come to the Capitol.
Law enforcement sprang into action. Bozeman and Helena Police, Gallatin County Sheriff's Office, MHP, and county attorneys formulated a plan. By Wednesday, police were able to confirm the identity of the man and that he had left Belgrade, headed for Helena.
Highway Patrol is the one that actually made the stop out on Highway 12, just east of town. The person was headed to Helena. We received information just before that stop.
Meanwhile, extra officers were assigned to the Capitol Wednesday as a precautionary measure. Hagan says the goal was to never let the man enter the city.
We wanted to get the person stopped before they entered Helena. If it ends up being something where it becomes dangerous, we'd much rather have it happen on the highway than in the city because there's a lot less population.
Helena police say the man was initially taken to St. Peter's Health for a mental health evaluation, and after working with the Lewis and Clark and Gallatin County attorneys' offices, a decision was made to turn the man over to the Montana State Hospital at Warm Springs. Police haven't said who the man is and won't say whether he had any weapons when he was taken into custody. While they have some ideas about his motivations, they won't talk about that either. Police say state officials were made aware of the threats, but some lawmakers on Thursday appeared to have no idea about the alleged threats.
The news to me that there was a really dangerous situation is just that. It's news to me. What makes me really happy is that law enforcement was able to apprehend the person, take care of the situation, and we here at the Capitol were kept safe.
Other Capitol workers echoed that sentiment, with some saying they didn't need to know about the threat as long as it was taken care of by police. Jacob Fuhrer, MTN News, Helena.
And there is no word yet on what charges this man may face. Turning now to weather, we had some freezing rain that made for not just tricky travel this morning, but dangerous for some. And we're going to have active weather into the weekend. For more on that, let's check in now with Chief Meteorologist Aaron Yost. Aaron.
Yeah, throughout much of the day, Jill, it's been more of a mountain snow valley rain event after this morning's mixed precipitation. We will see a switch over here as we head into the overnight hours, though, for valleys, including some snow accumulation. First Security Bank ICAM in Hamilton this afternoon, one of the wet places for sure. We've got our radar pretty lit up. Again, mountain snow valley rain. As the cold front, though, starts to push off towards the south and the east, that's when we'll get those snow levels dropping to valley floors. We do have some winter weather advisories in place through 11 o'clock tomorrow morning for some light accumulation. I've got the extended forecast update coming up, which again is going to stay pretty active.
Thanks, Aaron. In other local news tonight, the Mineral County Jail in Superior expected to reopen sometime in February. You remember the jail had been closed since last fall after safety concerns arose over the diminishing number of detention officers. And former Mineral County Sheriff Tom Bauer said at the time between poor pay and difficult hours, attracting and retaining employees had been tough. Well, now Mineral County Commissioner Roman Zalawi says the jail should reopen here in a few weeks. He reported a bad batch of paint, and the slow hiring of a detention officer is delaying the reopening a bit. Jail administrator said Thursday that the painting, the last hiring, and training should finally have the jail doors reopened in 30 days. There may be no crime more heinous than sex trafficking or any form of sexual abuse, but those who investigate the crimes say it's the recovery that can be the most difficult for victims.
MTN's Jack Ginsburg spoke with one survivor who is turning her traumatic experiences into positive ones for others.
There were at least about 4 or 5 people that was assaulting me till the age of 19.
Grace Monchala was born and raised in southern India to a protective religious family. At the young age of 6, she began to be sexually assaulted multiple times by family and friends. Her parents had no idea, and she wouldn't tell them because in her culture it was abnormal to talk about sex.
From a 6-year-old mouth, it doesn't look, that is not natural, right? And there was a lot of shame and guilt, and because of the culture that I grew up in, we don't talk about things like that.
Later, Grace met a man who she said showed her compassion, love, and a way to leave her dark past behind. At least that's what she thought. He began trafficking girls and boys in their home, even right in front of her. But Monchala says she became numb to her surroundings until one day she knew she had to leave.
He was at a point of wanting me to sell my womb and my body, where he would come and ask me again and again. And at that time I knew, okay, it's not safe anymore with him.
She left broken, spiritually and mentally. Her parents sent her to a counselor where she says she found her identity again and began working to help others with similar struggles. In 2008, Monchala came to the United States with the same mission, to create a safer place for young girls and boys in the community and beyond. She says it is important to find these criminals and save these children, but it is also crucial to restore their faith in who they are as people.
So increasing the value of a person, bringing awareness to that person and showing them that what their identity is very important.
Monchala played a huge role in drafting legislative bills related to sex trafficking, ultimately raising Montana's grade for sexual trafficking prevention from a D to an A rating.
Monchala says there is still a lot of work to be done to fight for the abolition of human trafficking in Montana and around the world, but she is happy with the progress she has seen so far. Jack Ginsburg, MTN News, Kalispell.
Grace will be holding a training seminar at Flathead High School next Monday starting at 5:30. The size of Montana's expanded Medicaid program continues to grow, and state officials said today it's helping people find jobs, too. At a legislative committee meeting today in Helena, state health officials said Medicaid expansion is now covering more than 91,000 low-income Montanans. That's 9% of the state's population. It's also more than twice the number of people the Bullock administration estimated would be covered at this point in the program. Expanded Medicaid provides health coverage to low-income adults, with federal funds covering most of the costs. Also today, state labor officials said they've contacted 21,000 people in the program to offer job training assistance. One of them is Amanda Childers of Thompson Falls. She told the committee today that the program not only helped cover her family's medical costs, but also prepare her for employment.
I'm a single mom of 2, and so the WorkLink program has helped me to get on my feet. It's opened doors to go down a career path in the medical field to better support myself and my kids. And without that program, I don't think I'd be where I'm at today.
Childers says she works as a caregiver at an assisted living home and is also going to school part-time in Missoula. A project by the city of Missoula is looking to install sidewalks in neighborhoods where they're needed. It's the Invest Health Sidewalks project. It laid out plans to install sidewalks after a survey for Missoula's long-range transportation plan found that around 40% of streets in the Franklin to Fort and North Side, West Side neighborhoods lack sidewalks. It compares to about 20% citywide. The City of Missoula Engineering secured a $260,000 block grant for the project that'll pay for about a third of this $856,000 deal. One requirement of that grant is that neighborhoods pass an environmental assessment to make sure that this project will actually benefit the area. Grant Administrator Will Seaburn says the assessment yielded some positive results.
That environmental assessment, we look at a variety of factors. We consult with a lot of local partners, federal agencies, state agencies to really understand, is there going to be a significant impact to the human environment on this project? In this case, we found that our finding is that there's no significant impact, and in fact this is going to be a positive benefit in terms of increasing connectivity in these neighborhoods.
The project is open to community comments until Tuesday, January 23rd. The Office of Housing and Community Development will collect those comments.
Lots of buzz today. A country music superstar coming to Missoula, and he's a good-looking fella, too. We got more on that coming up.
And are you tired of getting those robocalls? Some are really obnoxious. If you're still on the do not call list and you're still getting called by telemarketers, we'll tell you what to do. Coming up here on KPAX.